Hi guys, it's Lynn here. Hope you're having an incredible day. Now guys, today I'm going to be potting on my two little Crassula called the Buddha's Temple plants, succulent plants, and they're quite wacky guys. As you can see, they're related to the Crassula family, which is a massive genus. The most commonly known Crassula will be the jade plant or the money plant, but they're a massive genus. And these, the reason why I'm doing a video with these, I think this is quite unusual, guys. Here, just look how this grows. Isn't that wacky? All the leaf arrangement, and that's all its little babies coming through there. Really unusual. I think it's a beautiful plant. And these are actually two different ones I got at two different times. This one my friend Martin gave me, and this is a little cutting from his lovely big plant that's sort of all trailing down almost into like a big hanging basket now. He pulled that off and gave me that a couple of years ago, and that's done really well. And this is one I got from my favourite place, or one of my favourite garden centres in Ireland. Anyway, Johnstown Garden Centre in Naas in County Kildare. I got this last year, and it's really doing really well. As you can see, it's need of it. Roots aren't coming through as such, but I do think it's a bit top heavy. So I'm going to be potting the two together into this pot here, which I've sorted out here to put the two together, so the same variety. And what I do, I always prefer to make my own cactus and succulent mix, because you know what's going into it. Because sometimes the ones you buy, not only they're very expensive for a tiny bag, but I've in the past I bought cacti and succulent compost. I've opened it up and it's been full of flies. It's just been disgusting and all rubbish. So I prefer to be in control of what I put in the soil. In this case, I prefer to use a loam-based soil that contains less peat than a lot of the multi-purpose soils, but really it's all to do with what you prefer to use. And also the most important thing when it comes to cacti and succulents isn't so much the make or the brand or whatever type of soil, it's that it's well draining. I mean, you know, I know people who use garden soil and they use plenty of sand and grit and they have great success, and other people who use peat-based multi-purpose compost and have great success. It's all down to the drainage, and that's essential with cacti and succulents. In this case, I prefer, personally, me and Hans prefer to use a loam-based soil because that's what we prefer. Since using that, we have less problem with things like fungus gnats, and I just prefer that myself than using the peat-based. And we use a bit of extra perlite or a bit of extra grit or horticultural sand, and links up above to a video that I've made on how to make cactus and succulent compost. And in that case, I use a mixture of grit and sand, but as I say, if you haven't got grit or sand, as in this case, I'm substituting that with extra perlite. And obviously I also alternate what type of plants I'm growing. With some of the epiphytes, they prefer more of a soil, or more sort of a peat-based soil also, and less sand and grit than obviously the desert cacti do. So obviously it's common sense when it comes to using what certain soils, you know, with cacti and succulents, they all vary. And I've also made a video, many repotting videos. So this is a how-to video. Links up above to a playlist on repotting, how to repot a cactus and a succulent, and many in there. So that might help you out if you're new to growing these plants. And as I say, never go up a massive pot size. The reason why this is much bigger is I'm putting these two together. And the reason why that is because if you go too big of a pot and you plant them up from a small pot, it can encourage them to rot, because they'll be sitting around in sort of damp soil a bit too long than ideal. And in this case here, it's going to fill up the bottom. As here, they're always sort of, sometimes a good idea to actually run the soil through a sieve, so you get rid of any of these hard bits of stones and things like that. But I'm sort of lazy in that way. Just give it a good mixing with my hands, and obviously I've mixed all the perlite in, and then squeezing that out like so. We're putting this one in here, like that, and then the other one, squeezing that out. As I say, it's always a good, when you're repotting, good chance to see the root system as well. Check there's no soil pests that are hiding, because that's they hide sometimes, especially in mealybugs, root mealybugs. And that's it. Just want to make sure that's probably a bit more like that, so it's not too close together. And press them down, and then put the new soil around the edges. And, yeah, I love repotting. As I say, the reason why I've been doing a lot of repotting me and Hans the past few weeks, because obviously the time of year, it's always best to repot during the spring, summer and sort of early autumn. I wouldn't recommend repotting plants, cacti succulents anyway, in the middle of winter, unless it's an emergency and you have to for any reason. What I'm going to be doing, obviously, when I pot them on, is I keep these, I don't water them at all for about a week or two, certainly a good few days, just to allow the roots to accommodate into the new pot. Because sometimes if you water a cactus, a succulent, especially some of the desert cacti, straight after repotting it, and you happen to damage the roots at all, which sometimes it's impossible not to do, if you water straight away, it can sometimes encourage rot. But as you say, this is only my methods. It's entirely, I know many growers who have great success with doing their own things, so there's no right and wrong. This is only sharing what works for me. And as you say, gently tucking in around the edges. And a good tip that my amazing fiance shared with me is always to give it a tap with the soil so it gets all around them edges, like so. And gently pressing in. And that's it. Hey, so there you go, guys. Oops, me kicking the stand. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I want to send you loads of love, heaps of happiness, and tons of plant power. As always, from Ireland. Until the next video, guys. Bye.